The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the Steady Stream New Clients webinar. Just to check you can hear me clearly, can I ask you to go to your webinar taskbar and raise your hand, click the little hand icon that appears just so I can tell that I am getting through and somebody is hearing me. If someone can do that, then we can crack on. Or type something in the questions box. Or let me know in some way, shape or form that I am not just speaking to myself, which I have done from time to time before. Thank you very much appreciated. Great, glad you can hear me. Okay, this is as interactive as you would like it to be. I want to give you as much help and value as I can, so if you have any questions, please do use the question box and I'll ask them at appropriate times during the webinar. There'll be times when I'll ask for your website details, and happy to give live critiques, live reviews as I go through that to give you some help. So again, type your URL into the questions box and I'll be able to come back to that and refer to it at the appropriate time. But that's the best way of getting value from me. I normally charge a good amount for going through people's websites, but on this new webinar to welcome anyone that's joined in the last month to my mailing list, it's free of charge, so please do make the most of it. So the purpose of today to chat about how to get you clients on autopilot, and it's a method I like myself and it's what I use myself because there's nothing I like more than actually working with my clients. I enjoy my marketing, but I need a system that works with or without me so that when I'm in a particularly busy period, I still get clients coming to me that fill up my diary for the months ahead, as opposed to having periods where it's quiet. And I know that a lot of solicitors struggle with this and do the same thing. You like doing what you do. You like practicing law. The idea of spending all your time marketing doesn't appeal to you. And if you don't put in place systems, suddenly you have all sorts of problems where you just ride the marketing roller coaster. Some months you're really busy, you don't have time to market. Other months you're really quiet, and it goes up and down all the time. So we want to get you away from that model and want to get you onto something that's proven. I've done this with clients that have added £10,000 a month, £20,000 a month, £50,000 a month, and one client who's particularly good has added over £100,000 a month in profit costs because he's followed the system, he's put in place new marketing tactics, then he's fully automated them so they happen with or without his input, and that is absolutely vital. So I'm going to show you how we can do that today. So I'm going to share with you the system I teach my clients. I'm going to share with you the system I use on my consultancy business, but also on the personal injury claims website, which I set up because I used to be in the personal injury. I specialise at the end in personal injury claims, and lots of solicitors said, Nick, generate claims for us. I said, I'll show you how we can do this. And of course they said, you just do it and we'll pay you as a claims company. So it's more of a collective, but it means that I've spent over £300,000 of my own money testing, marketing, and making sure it works. So when I tell you something works, it's not because I'm guessing. I'm not one of these consultants that's never run their own business, hasn't taken the risk, hasn't put some wedge in to share the risk. I've done it all and risked plenty. So please, what I tell you does work. I want it to work for you too. So my background, very briefly, just so you know where I came from. I went into the law late, decided to work and study, and qualified as a solicitor after 8 years, studied the law for 14 years in practice in total, and marketed pretty much the whole time I was in practice, realizing very soon that I much preferred the marketing in law firms than I did to actually running a caseload. So I then thought I'd set up Samson Consulting, but before that I ran a franchise for a year selling promotional merchandise just to prove that I could sell and to prove to potential clients that I had some real business experience. So that was great because it meant that I did all the things I'd never done before, like cold calling, networking, exhibitions, some horrific things, but they worked, and in the first year I generated more in that franchise by 50% than anyone had ever done before. So it proved to me that I could go on, run Samson Consulting, and then the claims company, as I mentioned, and some other business interests that I have going. Now, wherever you are at the moment, let me assure you that the position can change. If you're doing okay, want to do better, that can be achieved. If you're struggling, not got enough work coming in, we can turn that round and we can change that as well. There is plenty of work out there. I've got firms that are growing exponentially at the moment. At the same time, I have people coming to me and saying, I can't get enough work through the door. What shall I do? So if you're in that position, we can definitely change things and we can make things much better for you. So where are you exactly? Are you struggling? Or have you got a reasonably stable practice, which happens at level 2 on my Solicitors Ascension model? Have you got a successful practice, or have you achieved cream the top, where you're working little in your business, you're able to take out profits, and you're really enjoying what you do? Now the red on the right hand side are the methods you have in place, the automated marketing methods you have in place that are bringing clients to your door. And unless you get to 2, 3, or 4 methods in place, you can have severe problems. And I've worked with so many firms that were totally reliant on one method of bringing business in. That method has suddenly died a death for many reasons, whether it was the end of the referral fee ban, or it's a referrer that was giving them work that stopped working with them, and suddenly life is a lot harder for them. They're obviously not happy about that, and they want that to change. Now, the only way you can potentially go from that position of struggling to the success at the top without putting in place 5 methods is by getting the methods I'm going to talk about with you today in place. If you get, and there's 3 main methods, and if you get on any one of them working particularly well, you can jump right to the top and really start enjoying yourself. So we're going to go into 3 methods today, because I don't want to overcomplicate things. They're the 3 places I tell all of my consultancy clients to start. If they come to me and they've only got 1 of these in place, we put in place number 2. If they haven't, they've got 2 in place, we put in place number 3. And normally that's over a 90-day period. A lot of my consultancy is very short scale, because I like to get in, push a client to a stage where they're at a much more secure position, and then get out. And because we've automated everything so that it happens with or without them, it continues to be successful. So my 90-day steady stream of clients consultancy program does just that. So if you're at 1 and you need to get to 2, or you're at 2, you want to get to 3, we can look at that, and I'll give you some options of how you can do that later. But just let me assure you, wherever you are on that model, you can change things and you can move things. The first thing, and this is a test that it's visual for a reason, and perhaps is slightly harsh, but I want you to understand the difference between marketing methods, and I hope this image stays with you, which is why it's meant to be a bit shocking, because when someone approaches you normally on a Friday afternoon and they want you to spend £1,000 with them, and it's going to give you the best marketing results you've ever had in your life, and if you don't take it, the solicitor next door is going to, and you're going to miss out, and you'll regret it forever, and it will ruin your life, and you'll start sobbing in corners and be sitting on the pavement within a year, which is a sales tactic I had for many years when I was in practice. I want you to remember these pictures and think through whether it really is a good opportunity, or whether you should put the phone down pretty instantly. I can assure you 9 times out of 10 it's a putting the phone down option. So attraction interruption marketing, 2 different methods of mating here. Peacock, fan's tail, makes himself look fantastic, lady comes over, happy days. Elephant, not so subtle. So you've got attraction marketing on the left with the peacock, you've got interruption marketing with the elephant on the right. You must make sure you are primarily looking at doing attraction marketing. So what I mean by that is you have someone who has decided they need a solicitor, they are looking for a solicitor actively, and they come across you. That person is highly motivated and is much more likely to buy your services than someone who is sitting at home reading a paper, suddenly sees your advertisement, or sitting at home watching the TV, listening to the radio, suddenly your ad comes on saying, use these solicitors, you must use us, we're the best, when they haven't got a need for a solicitor, they weren't even thinking about using a solicitor. And you're interrupting them from what their primary purpose was, which is reading the paper or doing the newspaper, or Twitter, or whatever it might be. Those methods don't work as well as attraction marketing. So let's move on to one method, and the primary one, which really can very quickly and very easily change things for you, your website. And bear with me while I just take a quick swig. But your website has 2 duties. The first one is to get people to it, and the second one is to turn those visitors into new clients. And those are 2 very important yet distinct duties. Many people spend lots and lots of time on the first one, but forget to spend time on the second one. That's a big mistake, because you already have people finding your website. So if you spend time making your website more effective at turning those visitors into new clients, you will get much better results instantly without cost. If you go straight for attracting new visitors when you have a really bad website, then you're going to be wasting money, because it'll still be a leaking bucket, and as you put more water in it, it will just spill out. So turning visitors into new clients is arguably more important than getting more people there first. Now, as I say, I'm going to do some reviews, so if you'd like me to look at your website, please type the URL into the box now, into the questions box from your taskbar, and I will have a look at your website and cover some of the points we're going to cover. If not, I'll find one at random, but I'm much happier if I can go into your website and give you some constructive feedback that will help you to take it to another stage. So just pop something in the questions box if you would like me to do that for you. So when it comes to your website, you've got two things. Thank you for popping a web address. I've got one which I'll come to in a minute. You've got two major tasks. One is that you need content for Google, and one is that you need content for your visitors. The reason content is so vital now is Google has hugely changed the method it uses to put you at the top of Google. And it is now largely about quality content. It used to be about buying links and you could cheat your way to the top. You can't do that anymore. Content is vital. So you need good content, and Google needs at least 400 words per page to work out what your page is talking about. And many people say to me, many solicitors especially, say, well, if I give them all that information, they won't need me. I can assure you, having gone through the training and spent 8 years qualifying to be a solicitor, they can't do it from one web page. And secondly, Google just can't work out what the page is about. So if you don't have 400 words on that, you've got no chance of Google registering your page near the top for the results. The other thing is, people are different. Some people like a lot of content before they're going to make contact with you. Others don't like so much. You can cover both by pleasing Google and having 400 or more words, but breaking up the content with headlines, subheadlines, bullet points, so that both types of people, those that like a lot of information, those that like to skim read, are satisfied. So whatever you do, if you went away now, if you stopped this webinar, I'd rather you didn't, but if you went away now, stopped the webinar, looked at your website and said, crikey, I've only got sort of 20 words on that page, 50 on that. If you padded out those pages with good quality original content that you prepared, you would get better results. So it's well worth spending time getting more information on your site. So I've been given a URL. Let's go and have a look and see if we've got some content on here. So we've got an initial landing page. The only thing I'd say about this is that there's a lot of graphic. That's a home page. You can be different on the home page, but nearly, I'm on a relatively big screen, and nearly half to 3/4 is taken up with a massive header and an image that's changing. Now, as I say, home page isn't so important. What I want to see when I go into one of the landing pages is that changes. It's still a massive image. So my first advice would be, especially as so many people now review websites on their iPads, I don't think for legal services so much on telephones, but definitely on iPads and other similar devices which are available. And so if they're looking at this screen on a device like that, most of the screen is taken up with the logo, call free, which is good. Glad to see strong call to action and a free inquiry form. That's great. And I'll come back to more about this as we go on. But I would be reducing the size of that headline. I'd probably be completely removing the image with the yellow hat on there, and maybe dropping it as a much smaller image around the copy further down. We'll come back to some of those points now, come back to more points, but is there enough content on the website? Probably just a tad short of 400 words, so that could be beefed up. Let's have a look at other pages within the section. Can't seem to click on that. Yes, now I can. Again, a bit short on content, so this is something that I see normally. Please don't. I'm trying to help on these comments, and you've got content. It works. There's a lot right about this website, which I'll come back to later. But adding content and beefing up each section will make a difference to the amount of free traffic you receive. So it's something that's well worth doing. Now, what else do we need on this website to make it work for Google and make it work for humans? We need tags, and tags are very very dull subject, and I'll show you how we can see what they are on your page, but they're incredibly dull. But you, as an owner of a website, must understand exactly what these tags do, so that you're not saying that you do this. Remember, my process is that you outsource all of this, so you're not doing it and you automate it, but you must understand what these tags do to understand their importance. So if we go back to the page on this site. If I was a client looking for accidents due to lack of training, and that might happen, that might be something I do. So is this page set up to tell Google what it's all about? So we've got a good headline which says what it's about. We've got a link to it for the navigation. That's all good. The tags you see by right-clicking anywhere on the content, not on an image, but anywhere on the content, and then clicking View Page Source. On a Mac, it's slightly different. You click on Tools, Developer Tools, and you can view page source that way. So as we do this, a new page opens up, and the first tag, and the most important one on the page, is the title tag. And I can immediately suggest an area for improvement now. The only page to really push the name of the firm, so in this case Lance Mason Solicitors, is on the home page. On every other page, the principle of your title tag, the real thing that it needs to be doing, is pushing the content on the page. So accidents due to lack of training should be all that's featuring in here. So accidents due to lack of training, you could put a dash, and then you put expert solicitors or specialist solicitors or specialist accident claims solicitors. And then the next thing that's missing and that will cost you is the description. In this section where it says content, it's blank, and again this should be filled out with content around why accidents happen due to lack of training, the injuries that can be sustained, the free inquiry that you offer to people that have an accident due to lack of training. So as an example, if I take that title from this page, and I'll explain to you visually why this is important. If I Google accidents due to lack of training, there you go, Lance Mason coming up. So you can see now why this is important. The title tag that comes up is Lance Mason Solicitors. Now I've just typed in accidents due to lack of training. If that title was over there on the left, which is what I've typed in, you see that it goes bold because that's what I've put in. You see the page goes bold, and because there's no description, Google has had to take some content from on the page. If you have an accident due to, so it's taken the first couple of lines. So if you had put those in the description section here, Google 9 times out of 10 would list what you'd written in the description section. And if you bear in mind the object of that description and your title at this point is purely to get the visitor, the website searcher, to land on your website. So I want to type in accidents due to lack of training. I want to see your advertisement come up or your Google search results in position 1, very good. And I want to actually then click on your site. So you've got to sell me why it's beneficial that I click onto your website. So at the moment, could have been talk to Lance Mason and say, there's not a very strong call to action for me there. If it said, if you've been injured as a result of an accident due to lack of training, we offer a completely free initial assessment of your claim and tell you how you can make a claim, that might be a stronger call to action. Free obviously is always good, so that's worth putting in. But this is your sales copy. So if you look at some pages on your website, and A, they don't have much content, and B, they haven't got a title tag and a description tag, you are missing huge opportunities, massive opportunities to get free traffic to your website. So change that and you can immediately see differences in terms of volume of traffic and people interacting on your site. The other tags I mentioned are H1 tags. Well, that's the title tag here usually. So that should match the keywords you're targeting for this page, which it is. And it's vital that you have a title at the top of the page because, again, if I've clicked on Google, I go accidents due to lack of training, I click on this page, the first thing I want to see, which is why the image probably needs changing, I want to see this because this is what I'm interested in reading, and this is all in the way at the moment. What I would probably do is move these two once I'm in here and move all of this up so that I've got a much better view of the content that I'm looking for to answer my question. The other thing I mentioned there is image tags. When you hover over an image, it should pop up. Now this isn't because it's a fixed image header on the page, but if you, let's go to my website and you can see if I've done what I'm supposed to have done. So if I hover, thank goodness, if I hover over my image there, you can see it's got my details pop up. And again, that's a chance for you to, you see legal marketing is what I'm targeting there. I've got my title tag, I've got my description on the image. So it's another chance to tell Google what this page is all about, and it's an important chance to use because Google is, as I say, placing more emphasis on the content and on images, and if you've not got alt tags and title tags on each page, then you're missing opportunities. So again, I tell you how to look for this. You can just hover over it. If they're not there, you need to speak to your web company and make sure that changes. So there's some instant changes there that hopefully you found helpful on the Lance Mason website. They will apply to anyone else listening today as well. And if anyone else wants me to look at their website later, please feel free to type that into the question box. What else do you need on your website? Well, one of the things that seriously does cause me to lose sleep is the fact that for every 100 visitors to your website, 98 or 99 of them will leave without doing anything. They won't take any action. They will come on your website and they've obviously got a need because they've gone into Google, they've typed in accidents due to lack of training, they've had a lack of training accident at work, they find your website and they leave. 98 or 99 of them leave without taking action. Why on earth are they doing that? So when I said to you, the most important time you spend on your website is stopping people leaving, this is one of those things, and this is the reason why you want to do it. Because if you look at the financial example there of how if you improve your conversion, and that should say double traffic conversion, if you improve your traffic and you improve your conversion, you massively increase the income coming in terms of new clients from your practice. So there's the big opportunities for changing this here. So how can you do that? How can you stop people leaving? Well, there's lots of things you need to look at. Homepage and the golden rules I mentioned here, and I'll come back to Lance Mason. So let's click on their logo, which cleverly takes me back to the homepage. We've got that header which jumped down and jumped up, so that's a little bit confusing. But the homepage, say, does break the rules. Everyone gets very, very focused on their homepage, but if you bear in mind that the people going to your homepage normally know you already, so the most important thing is to have an easy contact form, which you've got, and quick links to the other services, which I can do here. So you're ticking those boxes, but most people get very hung up on the home page. It's probably the least important page on your website. The most important pages are the pages that most people land on, like the inner page we saw at accidents due to lack of training, because that's the pages where people read and take action and move on. And bear in mind that on average, people will only look at between 1 to 3 pages on your website. They will not spend all day reading your website, as much as we might think that would be a nice thing for them to do. They're not going to do it. So you don't have long to sell them what they're after. So quick links to the contact page, to the contact form, to the main service pages for people that already know you on the home page is good. Navigation now, let's have a look, and we've got the hugely common situation on this page, which is the navigation is not alphabetical. Now, from a client's point of view, the only logical way for navigation to be featured is alphabetical. They know nothing else. They don't know why you've listed it in this way. There's no sort of logic to it that I can see, and in most cases, this is exactly the same. So listing those alphabetically will help people to flick through and find what they're looking for. The other comment I made there, which I go into great detail with my Marketing for Solicitors members, which I'll tell you about later, is wills and probate are, from a client's perspective, two completely separate services. So if I'm looking for a probate solicitor and I see wills, I skip down and I don't see probate, I'm on to the next site. Wills and probate are two completely separate services. I know lawyers think of them as related, because they are, but from a client's point of view, if I'm looking to make a will, great. Probate, the more financially useful service, is on the back burner because it's been tagged with probate. Everyone does this. The one thing I suggest is change that, put it separately, and give it its own page in its own section. That will make a substantial difference to the performance of your website. So make the navigation easy. Make it easy for me to get back to the home page, which I can do through the logo. I would also put a home tab up here, because some people don't understand that you can get back to the home page through the logo. So make it easy for me to get back to the start. Don't make some sections more important than the others. So on this, if we go back to my alphabetical suggestion, personal legal services before business, but alphabetically they'd be the other way around. So I'm guessing, just by the way the emphasis the firm's put on this, that you do more personal services than business services. That might not be the case, but that's what I would read into that by the fact that you put it that way around as opposed to alphabetically. Again, alphabetical will help you there. I've talked about content already. If you don't have enough content to prove your expertise, then I'm going to go somewhere else. And remember, you've got a minute or two, 1 or 3 pages maximum, 1 to 3 pages maximum for me to decide that you're the right firm for me. So you have to build trust with me in that very short period of time. And in my Marketing for Solicitors service, I go into how you build trust. There's a whole 4-part training course about making your website work harder to you. which tells you about the 2-minute trust builder and how you can convert more traffic into visitors. Obviously, we've got a short amount of time today, but I can show you how to take a no-risk trial of that service at the end of this webinar. So there's some points which I hope you found helpful for your website, and certainly some changes you can make to improve the performance. The other point is that there's nothing better at the moment than feedback from people just like me about a product or service I'm looking to buy, as shown by the likes of Amazon and Rated People. So putting testimonials is a very good thing, and fantastic to see Trustpilot on here. What I would immediately change is getting rid of the tweets, because that's not so important. It's never going to give you a new client. And put them down the bottom, and put what is really important is these 5 stars, just brilliant, underneath your inquiry form. I think that alone will, I should be charging for today, because I think the changes I'm suggesting to this website should make a substantial difference to the amount of inquiries you get from it if you're already getting some traffic to it. And that would be a major one, because the feedback is vital, is important. What you want is to have more of it there. Now at the moment there's only one. I don't know whether you can turn the link off to go off to the other to the Trustpilot website, but I'd probably turn that off until you've got 3 or 4 on there. But for now, just having that pushed up where the tweets is would make a substantial difference. Feedback testimonials, don't stop until you've got 1,000 or 2,000. At that point I might say, okay, you can take a little bit of time off. You don't need to collect any more websites, but even then I keep going, because anyone can collect 1 to 6 testimonials, and if you look at most solicitors' website, that's exactly what they do. They collect 1 to 6. Not many firms, you can't make up 1,000 testimonials or 100 testimonials. So you know, a good place to spend time is getting more testimonials. And I've got a system for collecting testimonials in marketing for solicitors, because it's one of those things that you really need to spend some time on. Let's get back to that one. Your chatter. Next thing I wanted to mention was that the websites haven't changed much. It's very much about how you want to talk to people and how you want them to travel through your site, as opposed to what they need. Now, my marketing definition has always been clients first. You must put your clients first in all that you do to ensure that you can give them the best possible service. So if that's the case, then how can we say to your client, look, what do you want? What do you need? How can we help you? The obvious thing is you give them the ability to interact with you live. The only problem with that is live chat is that if you're not logged in all day, every day, it doesn't pop up and it doesn't tell someone you're there, and so it doesn't work. And everyone I've met thinks it's a great idea. As soon as they buy it, they don't turn it on, it doesn't work for them. So live chat's good, but it doesn't work that well. Now the thing that I've been working on, I get rather frustrated with this, so I've actually created a tool that works 24/7 and doesn't require you to log in or to be there, and we're using it across our sites, and it's working a treat, is Your Website Genie. So I'll send you a link to it so you can have a look. But this is a tool that I think works very sweetly, and as you'll see, it pops up, it says, can we help you? Do you have a question? Yes, no. They type in the question. The second stage is they give you their name and their email address, and they then, you've got a live lead that you can follow up, and about 50% of these are coming through as live leads, and they're adding their contact details and they're using it. Because if you get someone on your site and they're standing there or spending 30 seconds, 40 seconds on there, but they're not filling in the inquiry form and they're not picking up the telephone, you need to find out why, and you need to do all you can to change that, to make sure they get in touch with you. I also have another, the other option is a much more expensive one, which is Your Website Genie will be about £20 a month. So if it brings you 1 client a year, it's paid for itself. There's another option which I've recommended, which works for some of my clients, which is a fully hosted 24/7 hosted solution where someone does actually type responses instantly. That costs £22 per lead, so it's much more expensive, but I'm happy to tell you about both of those. Just send me an email if you're interested in that, or watch the replay of this webinar. The final point, and perhaps one of the most important when it comes to your website, is telling your client exactly what you want them to do. The biggest mistake people make is that if a client comes to my website and they type in accident due to lack of training, they find what they're looking for, and they think, yep, this makes sense to me. I'm probably going to do something with this. Get to the end of the page and then there's no call to action. Well, on this page, that's not the case. There is thankfully one. I'd make it much stronger by adding the link to the inquiry form and putting the phone number in highlighted. And you might say, well, I've already got this on the page, but let me tell you from my testing that even though it's on every page, which is absolutely where it should be, top right-hand side, perfect, that it should also be referred to at the bottom of the page, because if it's a longer page, as some of them will be now, we need to repeat that call to action, have a separate inquiry form on a separate page. That will make a substantial difference to the number of leads coming through to you. So the important thing about your website is you can easily change it and improve it and get it working and get it producing clients for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can have the whole of the marketing outsourced to a separate contractor. And another part of the marketing solicitor service is I have suppliers that I've tried and tested, I've spent money on doing this for my clients all of the time. So if you're not getting enough traffic to your website, I can introduce these to people. They can take care of your marketing. You'll know the questions to ask them because I provide you with those, and you can tell them to start showing you exactly what you need to do to get the results. Recently, one of my clients who's done incredibly well has had a really busy month from using the methods I'm sharing with you and I've shared with my marketing solicitors members to get more traffic to his website. So there's much more work out there, whatever level you're at, whatever stage you're at, there's much more work out there for you. There's much more opportunity for you to win new instructions. And at the end, I mentioned to you the 4-part training module, which is all about turning your website into a lead generation machine so that it brings you new clients all of the time. That is free as soon as you join Marketing for Solicitors on this no-risk trial I mentioned. So I will come back to that. If you have any questions, as I say, please type them into the questions box. If you've got any feedback, if you've found anything that struck a chord and made you go, gosh, why aren't I doing that? Please type that in. As I say, the more interaction I can get, the better. Thank you for someone who's just said it's been very useful. Please, as I say, more interaction is better. So any questions, any thoughts, anything you want me to go over again, just whack it into the questions box and I'll be happy to help. So websites, one of the areas that can move you from the bottom of the tree to the top of the tree if you get it right very quickly, can substantially change your practice, which is why I like it so much. So that's a very positive thing. What else can you be doing? Well, your current clients, and this is an area that most solicitors I speak with for the first time aren't doing. They're not in touch with their current clients. They're not speaking to them and communicating with them. And by way of an example, people say, well, they won't, I've got nothing to say, or people don't want to hear about the law every month. I have people on my email list that have been on there. One of my best clients at the moment in terms of he's been with me for a long time and he's getting ridiculously fantastic results because he takes action. He does what I tell him. One of my consultancy clients has doubled his income. He was on my mailing list for 3 years before he decided to make contact with me. And he's from a different country, so he actually flew in to see me. But it took him 3 years to do so. So if you're not in touch with your clients, and bear in mind legal services aren't always an instant purchase, and I might want to hear from you for some months before I decide, okay, I will make that will now, then that's a massive missed opportunity. And the other important point about that is that the clients don't even have to read your email. If you think about things like Amazon and Tesco, they send you emails all of the time, and you probably don't answer them. But when you're looking for something from Amazon, Tesco, you go straight there. I have people again who are on my email marketing list that don't open an email for 6 months. I used to get really offended at that and feel quite upset that I put all this time into writing these emails and they don't read them. And then I realized they're doing just what I do. As soon as they need help, they get straight on the phone to me because they know I've kept in touch with them. There's no one else on their shopping list. They come to Nick Jervis alone, and they say, what should we do? I need help. Let's get on with it. So it's a massive failed assumption to think, well, I've got to send a monthly email newsletter. No one's going to read it. It's not being opened. It's a waste of time. It's not. This is something you absolutely must be doing. And if you're not, you are costing your firm tens of thousands of pounds of lost profit costs every year. So not only that, it's cheap, it's easy to do, it's easy to outsource it, it's easy to have it done for you. You can make this as easy as possible. I just had some feedback, invaluable feedback on the website, thank you, some great tips to follow up. That's the important point as well. Whatever you hear today that makes you think, gosh, yes, following up, taking action. As I said, that client of mine on the Steady Stream of Clients consultancy program, we have these chats every month, one-on-one. I look at his website, we talk about an aspect of his marketing. He goes away and takes action, and boy, does it repay him in terms of increased profit cost, new clients, because he takes action. So, my strong advice to you is if you hear anything that makes you think, I should do that, please, straight away after this, go and do it, because otherwise it won't happen and you'll miss the chance to change things for the good and for the better. So keeping in touch with clients is absolutely vital. You've got to do it. How are you going to do it? We've talked about the need for consistency. We've talked about the need for you to talk about clients, not all about you. So it's about giving the client tips about legal matters and legal thoughts and legal processes. So it needs to be all about them, and it doesn't want to be too legal. It actually needs to be far more informal than you probably would feel comfortable sending it first. But it is more about building personality and building that relationship so that when the client needs a solicitor, you're the first person they come to. If you think about all the polls and surveys you've probably read in the Gazette over the years, they will all say that when asked, a client would usually choose a solicitor that's recommended to them, but then they go on to say, but when they ask friends, the client can't remember who they last used because they didn't keep in touch with them. I mean, that scares me, it terrifies me. So you must be keeping in touch with people. You've got to do this. If you're not doing it, please change that. And there's a system that we use, again, which I'm happy to tell you about, a system that we do. We offer 10 newsletter articles a month for £50 a month. Again, you can do a no-risk trial called Newsletters for Solicitors. And it's about giving you ideas for content. You can take the whole thing and use it as it is, or you can change it, but it's about the consistency. So you get those sent to you every month, gives you the content, you whack it into your email marketing software, and if you don't use email marketing software at the moment, happy to recommend one. Again, just email me, njervis@sansonconsulting.co.uk, and you can be up and running and sending client emails instantly. And if you don't have the time, we can introduce you to people that can even set up your email marketing software for you. We don't do it, but I can introduce you to people that do, because it's just about this consistency of getting marketing happening time and time again, with or without your input. And talking to your clients is absolutely right up there with getting your website working for you. And finally, so any questions coming up, please do feel free to get them ready. Finally, referrals and joint ventures. There are people out there who already have your next clients, your next 10 clients, 20 clients, 100 clients. So unless you make the effort to find them, you're missing huge opportunities again. So they can bring you, if you find one good referrer, you might get 5 clients a month, another one, suddenly you've got 10 clients a month coming in that you weren't getting before. And this applies whether you're business to business or business to individual. Accountants have business clients, they also have individual clients. Other professional service providers will have your potential clients. Removal companies will have a whole host of potential conveyancing clients. You've just got to think, who are our best types of clients? And that's quite easy to find out when you look for common traits and trends amongst your clients. You start thinking, okay, what are they? Do they live in a certain part of the town? Who else services them? Who else can I talk to? Who else can I do some joint ventures with? If you're business to business, it's even easier because the obvious choices are accountants and other professional service providers, and they, like you, have to keep in touch with their clients, and they, like you, need to give their clients something interesting to make them want to hear from them. So if you can offer them a free teleseminar or webinar, some information, advice, which again would not be legal, would be all about the tricks and tips you can give them to make their business much easier, they'll happily put on a seminar or put on a webinar which you present, which introduces you to all of those potential clients. And if you do that right, and at the end of it collect business cards in exchange for something free for everyone that's attended, you'll pick up business. Imagine if you're doing just one webinar a month for a new referrer, how many new clients you would have by the end of a 12-month period. And if you get several staff doing that, how much that would change your practice. So there's huge opportunities there for you to do referrals and joint ventures. As I said, the different things you can do, some ideas there of adding value content either by spoken word, seminars, webinars, or written guides for referrers. The important thing when it comes to referrals is you must record what comes to you. I have had clients who were receiving more than 50 referrals a month from a certain provider because they refused to record it despite advice, because they refused to thank the provider took the referrals elsewhere, not surprisingly. No one in business anymore does something just for the sake of it. They at least want some appreciation, some acknowledgement of what's going on, and these days I would say they want reciprocation, not necessarily financial, but they want you to offer to put on a seminar about their services to your clients. Why not? Why wouldn't you do that? If it's a reason for you to get in touch with your clients, the content is of value, you're helping yourself and you're helping this referrer that's already helped you. So offering a cross-referral with an accountant, for example, where you do a webinar to their clients, they do one to yours, fantastic. And if you've already got your email marketing database in place, great. Remember I said, if you haven't, email me and I'll send you some details. So if you put in place those, if you haven't got all those three things working for you now, how would your practice be different if you did get all three in place and automated and working every month with or without your input? How much extra time would that give you? How much extra income would that give you? And how much more would you enjoy your practice or your department if that was happening for you? Take a moment to think about that, because it frustrates the heck out of me that somehow I know that I'm good at what I do, and that's not being big-headed. It's just that I've been doing this for 10 years now. I've done it with enough clients to know that I get results. And what frustrates me no end is when someone comes to me and says, "Oh, I've been thinking about it for 2 or 3 years." That client that's doing really well now after sitting on my email list for 3 years, I failed him for 3 years, because if he came to me 3 years ago, he'd probably retired by now. He's doing that well. So if you're in this position where you think, "Oh, I should do more," not quite sure. Now, I'm here to help, and I know what I'm talking about because I've just got the results that show that this works. It's not rocket science. One of the most offensive things I commonly hear from clients is, "Well, it's sort of what you're saying to me, Nick. It's pretty much common sense." Well, it may be, but it's not that common that you're actually implementing it or doing it. I think the difference is that I'm a very practical person. I can tell you how to implement, how to put it in place, and where not to waste your money, which is another key factor. So I mentioned I'd tell you how I can make your life a lot easier, and that service is called Marketing for Solicitors, and I strongly recommend you join it because it's brilliant. There are many other solicitors already using it, and some of them have been with me for over 3 years since it started. It's about giving you everything you need to get you up and running, and to tell you where to spend your marketing, where to get things right, choose the marketing tactic, implement it, outsource it. As I say, you get access to my suppliers, so you don't have to sit there and worry about, "Oh, I can't do it, I haven't got the time." There's been a really interesting debate on the LinkedIn Gazette group about quality solicitors. And some of the common feedback is, "I need more clients, I haven't got enough clients coming in, but I haven't got time to do marketing." Which I understand the comment, but when you see it in black and white, you think, have you just seen what you've typed? It takes a bit of time to set up some marketing systems, but once you do it right, and once you outsource it and someone else is running it for you, you can forget about it. Apart from managing the monthly figures and checking that you spent £5,000, I'm not suggesting you'd spend that much as an example, you spent £5,000 and that's produced £25,000 business. I'm going to keep doing that, but that's all you're doing. You're checking that it's providing a response for you and checking a result for you. So these tools are all available to you. There's as many as you need to do every aspect of marketing that you need for your practice. On top of that, the website lead generation system I told you about, which goes into far more detail about making your website a lead generation system. And Claire, the comments I gave you about your website, there's even more of them in this course, which was sold for £495. That comes completely free as soon as you join Marketing for Solicitors. So there's 4 webinars, and I would strongly suggest, if you found today useful, you watch that, you'll find that incredibly useful. So I definitely suggest that you have a look at that. And there's the detail of what it goes into. I mean, I won't go into detail too much because you're on your lunch hour and I'd like to have a little bit of air before you get back to your work. So it goes into all the detail, everything you need to know to make your website generate clients for you. That's basically what it does. I've had some fantastic feedback about it. I love doing it because it's a subject close to my heart. There's easy ways of you making your website much better, and it goes into details of exactly what to do. On top of that, you get access to all these other benefits of joining Marketing for Solicitors. All you'd have to do is sign up, try it for 30 days, and that means give me payment details, but it's a payment system which you're completely in charge of because it's direct debit. So if you say at the end of 30 days, I don't think this works, it doesn't work for me, you can cancel it. You won't have any payments taken. You can even email me. You keep everything you've had up to that point. If you've watched the 4 webinars, great, and I'll even refund you the money. This shouldn't be a hard decision for you to make. The idea is that you say, well, there's no point in me not trying that. That's where I'm trying to get to. So I'm very accessible. You've already got a hold of me today. I give you email addresses and telephone numbers. That telephone is answered 8 till 6 every day. So if you want to cancel, you just email me or phone me, and that's arranged as well. Okay, so hopefully you'll think that might be of interest. All you need to do now is go to that address, samsungconsulting.co.uk/steady, and you will see there the offer that I've just talked to you about, detailed, so that you can see exactly what you've got to do. If I go there now, no, I didn't want to do that, Nicholas. There's a webinar from last month that's recorded. I'll put this one up later so you can see it again if you need to for your website review. Just click your start your 30-day risk-free trial. Sign up with your details and your bank account details, source account number. I'll say it's a direct debit, so you have access of cancelling this. You get redirected to the page which gives me your contact details. You're up and running, and I'll send you the current month's printed circular of Marketing for Solicitors, which has got the latest marketing updates in it. You get access to all of the online tools I've talked about, all of the 12 blueprints, everything else that's in the private zone, and you're up and running. So if you want to join me, go to samsungconsulting.co.uk/steady. You will find all of that there, and you can start moving things forward. If anyone has any questions, I will gladly take them from you now. Otherwise, I hope to see you on the inside of the Marketing for Solicitors private zone, where you get access to me. You can ask me questions, ask me for feedback on your website or on your advertisements or on your email newsletter, anything like that. It's all included because I want your marketing to be effective. I don't want you sitting there thinking I haven't got enough clients. I want to change this and improve things for the better. I want you to do that. I'll show you how, and you will have a much better practice after you've done it. So that sounds good to me. I hope I will see you on the other side. Thanks very much for your time today, and you can now go off and enjoy some sunshine. As I say, any questions after the event, please just email me, njervis@samsungconsulting.co.uk. I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks for your time.